Is virginity an outdated concept in the modern world? Welcome to a conversation that is challenging deep-seated norms and provoking the status quo. Today we're exploring how Gen Z, those intrepid youngsters who are already reinventing ancient human behaviors, are now setting their sights on another age-old concept, virginity. In a world that is rapidly changing, the perception of virginity is not immune. It seems that the traditional definition of virginity is being questioned and redefined by the youngest generation. According to a survey conducted by Business Insider, only 56% of Gen Z respondents aged between 18 and 26 claim to have had sex. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that the remaining 44% consider themselves virgins in the traditional sense. It's a brave new world out there, and it's a world where the word virginity is no longer confined to its conventional definition. As one Zoomer put it, there's as many ways to view virginity as there are ways to view sex. This viewpoint reflects a broader shift in attitudes towards sex and sexuality, where the concept of virginity is not a one-size-fits-all label but a deeply personal and individual experience. This shift in perspective is not just about semantics or wordplay. It's about inclusivity, acceptance, and understanding that everyone's experience with sex is different. It's about recognizing that the old definitions may no longer serve us, and it's time to redefine the terms on our own accord. The journey of sexual discovery is as varied as the individuals embarking on it. The traditional definition of virginity, based on heterosexual penetrative sex, leaves out a wide range of experiences, especially for those identifying as LGBTQIA+. It's clear that Gen Z is not only challenging the conventional definitions, but also creating space for more inclusive conversations about sex. So as we dive deeper into this topic, let's keep an open mind and remember that the world is changing. The way we talk about sex is changing. And the definition of virginity? Well, it's clearly up for debate. Let's delve deeper into how Gen Z is redefining an age-old concept. Opening: how does sexual orientation influence the concept of virginity? Let's delve into this through the lens of Sasha Roberts, a bisexual teacher who found herself in what she calls virginity limbo for 5 years. She speaks of her experiences with women in her teens and her first encounters with men only beginning in 2022. Sasha shared, "I've had so many people say to me, 'You're a virgin until you've had sex with a man.' But in reality, I've been having sex with girls since I was 15. This raises a poignant question. Do all those times not count?" Sasha asked. "They just disappear?" She further declared, "Everybody has sex in different ways. Everybody identifies in different ways of different genders, and everybody is hooking up in so severely different ways." Her words echo a sentiment that resonates with many of Gen Z. The traditional definition of virginity, tied to the act of sexual penetration, is becoming murky. With over a quarter of Gen Z identifying as LGBTQIA+, the question arises, how do we define the loss of virginity in a world with such diverse sexual orientations? Sasha reflects on this. "There's no way for me to quantify it," she added. It doesn't bother her that there's no certainty about the age at which she was no longer a virgin. There's no way for me to be like, "Yep, that was it. That was exactly what made you lose your virginity." Our sexual identities and experiences are as unique and varied as we are. Sasha's story underscores the complexity and fluidity of sexuality and virginity, especially within the Gen Z demographic. It's clear that the concept of virginity is evolving, shaped by an increasing recognition of the broad spectrum of human sexuality. So it seems that virginity is no longer a one-size-fits-all concept. It's a spectrum, a personal journey that each individual navigates in their own unique way. This shift in understanding is a testament to the ever-changing nature of human sexuality and the fluidity of concepts that once seemed so rigid. Closing. Virginity is not as black and white as it once seemed. Has virginity been used as a tool to shame and police people's sexual activity? A question that, to many Gen Zers, seems to already have a clear answer. Yes. For centuries, the concept of virginity has been manipulated, used as a tool to shame, control, and dictate people's sexual behavior. In many societies, virginity has been revered, particularly in women, as a symbol of purity and integrity. This perspective, however, has not been without its consequences. It has led to the creation of a social construct that deters women from engaging in premarital sex. This ideology has perpetuated a culture of silence and shame around female sexuality, creating an environment where women are often vilified for their sexual decisions. But the conversation doesn't stop at women. Men too have been victims of this shaming tool. For decades, men have faced societal pressure to lose their virginity at a certain age. Their worth and masculinity have been in many instances tied to their sexual experiences, creating an unnecessary burden and perpetuating harmful stereotypes. The term virginity carries a heavy weight. It's a term fraught with historical, cultural, and personal implications. As Danielle Bezalel, a sex educator and the host of the Sex Ed with DB podcast puts it, the term is complicated. It comes with a lot of baggage. Indeed, the concept of virginity is not a simple one. It is interwoven with our identities, our relationships, and our perceptions of self. It is a term that has been used to regulate, control, and shame individuals for their sexual choices. But as we delve deeper into the 21st century, more and more individuals are beginning to challenge these archaic ideas. Gen Zers are actively rewriting the narrative, breaking down barriers, and creating a more inclusive understanding of sex and sexuality. They are questioning the very essence of what it means to be a virgin, and in doing so, they are dismantling the shaming tool that virginity has been for centuries. Is the term virginity losing its significance? As we continue to navigate through this ever-evolving conversation, it seems that the answer to this question is becoming increasingly clear. Does the concept of virginity hold any weight among Gen Z? Let's delve into the perspective of Timmick Williams, a 27-year-old member of this generation. He boldly claims that the term virgin has almost vanished from his vocabulary. "I don't think it really matters anymore," he says, capturing the sentiment of many in his peer group. The once weighty concept of virginity seems to be fading into the background, its importance dwindling in the face of evolving attitudes towards sex and intimacy. However, it's not just about redefining what constitutes virginity. Many Gen Zers are choosing to abstain from sex completely, demonstrating an unprecedented shift in attitudes towards sexual behavior. For some, this decision is rooted in personal preference or an emphasis on emotional connection. For others, external factors have influenced their choice. One such factor is the COVID pandemic, which has had a profound impact on Gen Z's perceptions of sex, health, and safety. Sue Milstein, an assistant professor of health studies, believes the pandemic has led many Gen Zers to reconsider their sexual behavior. She shares, "Some of them saw their friends getting sick, so they're like, why do I want to be with a stranger physically when I don't know where they've been?" This introspection reflects a heightened sense of self-preservation and caution, traits that have been amplified by the global health crisis. Interestingly, many Gen Z women are finding alternatives to traditional sexual encounters. Preferring self-pleasure over hookups, they express satisfaction in what they get from their friendships and their own personal tools. This shift further emphasizes the changing landscape of sexual behavior, with individual satisfaction taking precedence over societal expectations. In conclusion, the traditional concept of virginity seems to be losing its significance among Gen Z. As attitudes towards sex and intimacy continue to evolve, it's clear that terms and concepts that once held immense significance are being reevaluated. Virginity seems to be losing its relevance in the modern world. How are the sexual behaviors of Gen Z changing? This is a question that has been on the minds of many, as this generation continues to challenge traditional norms and redefine the parameters of sexual interactions. One key shift is that many Gen Z women are now prioritizing their own pleasure and safety over the societal pressures to engage in sexual encounters. Sue Milstein, an assistant professor of health studies at Springfield College in Massachusetts, has been observing this trend closely. According to Milstein, the COVID pandemic has played a significant role in reshaping the attitudes of Gen Z towards sex, health, and safety. She noted, "Some of them saw their friends getting sick, so they're like, why do I want to be with a stranger physically when I don't know where they've been?" This heightened awareness about health risks has led many to rethink the necessity of physical intimacy with others. Further to this, Milstein has found that many Gen Z women are finding more satisfaction in self-pleasure than actual sexual encounters. She recounted, "They'll say, I don't really feel like doing a hookup because it's not giving me what I want. I'm getting what I want from my friendships, getting what I want from my vibrator, my toys, whatever it may be." This shift in sexual behavior is not just a reaction to the pandemic, It's also a part of a broader trend towards self-empowerment and autonomy in the realm of sexual satisfaction. It's about Gen Z women taking control of their own sexual experiences, defining what pleasure means to them, and not being afraid to prioritize their own needs and desires. In conclusion, the sexual behaviors of Gen Z are evolving in ways that challenge traditional norms and expectations. They are redefining what it means to be sexually active, and in doing so, they are reshaping our understanding of sexuality itself. The concept of virginity is evolving, and so are the sexual behaviors of Gen Z.